and welcome to Senior Happenings. My name is Tricia Ayers, and I'm your host for the show, and I am so excited about this show. So excited. We got to record on a different day, and usually my two guests are busy doing their radio show that they do every week. So we'll get to it. We have Mr. Todd Whatley, who has been an elder law attorney for way too many years, I think about 22 years. He has a practice here in Bentonville. He has been here in Bella Vista, had an office many years ago. Also has a practice in Tulsa, Oklahoma, and also teaches other attorneys how to be better elder law attorneys or how to get into elder law. So thank you for joining me, Todd.
Sure, thank you.
I really appreciate it.
Thank you.
And then also, we have the better half of the bargain here, Miss Sara Scott, who is a former nursing home administrator. And also, I used to work for Sara when we had the wonderful Village House down the street there. And she was the director of Village House. And now she has her own senior care navigation company and also does some work in Todd's office. So welcome, Sara.
Thanks, Trish, for having us
Thank
today.
you. You're so welcome. So yes, so
It'll be fun.
usually you guys are doing your radio show on KERM every Wednesday from 9 to 10. What are the call numbers on KERM? 100?
They're 100.3 FM and 790 AM.
Yes.
The mighty 790.
Yes,
Yeah.
and it's all about senior stuff.
Yes.
Totally
Answers
about
on
senior
aging.
stuff, and you can also call in. Yes?
You can.
Very
Yes.
important to call in. It's a great show. You
We
should
love
all-
questions, by the way.
Yes.
Yes.
We
Yes.
do.
So today's show, we're in the holidays, we're in the thick of the holidays, and I want to talk about, and you talk about this on your show and in the podcast that you have, what are some of those sometimes awkward conversations that kids or parents need to have during the holidays, usually when you see it, but what are some of those conversations, Todd?
Yeah, our recommendation is that when you go to visit, have fun first, do the festivities, but then at some point, it's a perfect time to sit down with your aging loved ones and ask some really hard questions that they're not going to bring up typically. But we do recommend, if you're the parents and the kids are in, maybe you bring these up. But typically it's the kids asking the parents. And so our first question is basically, how are you doing living in your home? Okay, look around. It's a great time to be a little bit nosy. Okay, but ask them, are you okay if there's stairs and their bedroom is upstairs? That's a great time to say, Mom, how are you doing the stairs? Watch your mom and dad go up and down the stairs and see, are they doing it correctly or are they doing it safely? Is it a problem? Are they winded when they get up there? But basically, how are you doing in your home? And if you look around, open up some closets, open up the refrigerator, that's a great way for you to see with your own two eyes how they're doing.
Well, and just to kind of piggyback off of that point, if you know in the past that your parents had their bedroom upstairs, if there are stairs in question, and you notice that there's like this dad-shaped indention in the couch, and it's obviously been his bed for a long time, that's something to take note of and to ask more questions about and to find out, why are you sleeping on the couch? Is it because of the stairs, or is it because maybe mom has developed a really bad snoring problem? Or maybe, there could be endless possibilities to that, but just kind of looking at the smaller things and making sure that things look normal, and if it looks like it's out of their norm, press into it a little bit more in a way that is not attacking them, but is in a concerned manner. And, if they do tell you, I can't get up the stairs anymore, well, let's do something about that. Could we move the bedroom downstairs, or do we need to even maybe look at relocation? So it could mean a whole the whole gamut of options for the solutions, but unless you ask those questions, you're going to be clueless.
Right. And I think sometimes because it is kids, and we're talking about adult kids here, we're not
Right,
talking about
exactly,
my
yes.
teenage kids,
Yes,
hopefully,
yes.
but we're talking about adult kids having a conversation with parents.
Yes.
And
Good
they've always
point.
been the kids, and they will always be the parents. And sometimes I think
Yeah.
parents just automatically think, once they start to slip in any way that, okay, the kids are going to put me in the nursing home, that there are no steps.
Yes,
that are
yes.
going
So let's
there.
just hide that.
Yes.
Let's not let them know anything's going on because, who wants to go into a nursing home, or who doesn't want to just live in their own home?
Right.
So yeah, you as the adult child need to enter into these conversations and ask these questions very cautiously and in a concerning and genuine manner, just for their best interest.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. I know there's another thing that sometimes you experience in the office where adult parents, have had no conversations with their kids about any kind of documents, where anything is, passwords to anything. So how do you start to broach those conversations when that's a really big deal?
Yeah, I mean, two of our questions are, number one is, who's going to help you make decisions if you can't? And please understand, every older person is, unless they just drop dead, they're going to spend some time incapacitated, meaning that they cannot make decisions, they're unconscious, or they're just at a point that they can't make decisions. And that's a time when, if you don't have powers of attorney in place, then we have to go to court and have a court appoint someone to make those decisions. Court is expensive, it's humiliating, it's time consuming. And so ask your parents, have you done powers of attorney, okay? And if you have, where are they? Where in this house are they? Are they under lock and key or combination? Well, maybe we should know that, because if you fall and they take you to the hospital and you're unconscious, we're going to need those documents. And if we can't get to them, it's as if we don't have them, and that's a problem. So at least give them your attorney's name. So I keep copies, and my contracts and my documents say that I can talk to your agent. And so if your agent calls the office and I can prove that, I can give them documents. But if they don't know I'm your lawyer, they can't call me.
Because I think spouses do think, okay, I will be able to make decisions.
It's true. They think they can, but they can't,
Right.
unless it's in a legal document, such as a financial power of attorney and a healthcare power of attorney.
So everybody needs a power of attorney.
Everybody over
Everybody
18.
over the age of 18.
Over the age of 18.
Yes, yes.
So
It's
my college
crucial.
age child needs a power of attorney.
Bring her in, we'll do
Bring
it.
her
Bring her
in.
in.
We'll
Bring
sign
her
her up.
in.
So those other important conversations to have, because it is hard to talk to your parents about that.
It is.
I know my mom lives in England, and my father passed away a few years ago, knew nothing about their finances, their wishes. My mom didn't even know most of it.
That's
Yeah.
not uncommon.
Not
I went
uncommon.
through probate for 2 years in England.
Goodness.
I know it's probably not that long here, but it's still a long time.
Yeah.
But trying to even have a conversation with her about, she's healthy, she's in her 70s, but she never wants to talk about, okay, well, what do you want to happen? It's like,
Right.
not going there.
Well, Trish, the thing is, I'm pretty sure no one has ever not died. Okay? We're
Right.
all going to die eventually. And everyone I know has experienced death in some form or fashion, and it's horrible, it's stressful, and the last thing that you need to do to your family once you've left them for forever is create more turmoil and not have these things in place, because if you don't have these things in place, it's going to just add to all the chaos. It's going to add to the wearing out of grief, and just do this, if nothing else, for your family, so that that's one less thing they have to do after they've lost you.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Another important question to ask about is how they're feeling financially, and if they are comfortable with their financial situation. Do their monthly expenses outweigh their monthly income? And do they have a nest egg somewhere? If we need to pull from that, what does that look like? And that's another question that a lot of times gets met with porcupine needles, because it's none of your business.
Right.
And a lot of people, I believe, will take that as, well, you're just fishing around to find out, what you're going to get when I pass away. No, that's not it at all. I mean, you need to know what the financial situation is, so that when something happens, not if, but when it happens, you know what is there and what needs to be made up for.
Right.
Well, and let me say real quick, I've seen families where the parents are dead set, this money's going to the kids. Sometimes it is the kids trying to figure out what they're going to get, but I've seen probably more times than not, the parents are like, I want this amount of money to go to my kids and grandkids. And they're sacrificing to the point of not buying drugs, not being healthy, not buying food, because it's like, this is for the kids. You kids need to say, you need to take care of yourself. We're okay. This money will not mean that much to us. Please use this money. Just like Sara said,
Yeah.
use the money. If you're spending more each month than you're bringing in, let's use this money. That's why you saved it. And, use this money. I don't want it. That is not important to me. Your health, your safety, that's what's important.
Right.
And your parents need to hear that from you so that they have permission to spend this money.
And I know in the office I've heard you have a conversation with people when maybe finances are not so good and they do need to move to a next level, either in-home or assisted. And if they're a veteran, there is a benefit out there that can actually give them money.
Yeah. For a widow of a veteran, it's about $1,200. For a single veteran, it's about $1,800. And for a married veteran, it's almost $2,200 per month that the VA will put into their bank account. They can use the money to get the care that they need. And so many times veterans don't know that. They'll call the VA and they're like, oh, you have too much money, you make too much money. Well, that's not the issue. Get with someone who truly does understand the process and the rules and can say, yeah, you truly don't qualify, or surprisingly, yes, you do. And more clients do qualify than don't. So
That's a great benefit out there.
It's a great benefit. But then I think another thing that people don't understand is Medicaid is what pays for most nursing home bills, and you don't have to be broke, particularly if you're married, okay? A married couple can have, not counting the home, which is typically their biggest asset, but they can have $500,000, $600,000, $700,000, $800,000. And I can still get them on Medicaid following the Medicaid rules. And there's a section of the Medicaid rules called the spousal protection rules, and it protects the spouse that is not in the nursing home. And even up to $500,000, $600,000, $800,000, I can get the money to that spouse and get this spouse the care they need, and it not cost you everything. I know, it's amazing.
But sometimes, well, myself too, and our seniors, we get our information not from the right source.
Right. Well, and
We've seen that.
Yes. Before Todd started talking about the Medicaid rules, I did just want to mention that if you, as a veteran or a widow of a veteran, have applied for VA benefits and been denied, call the office. A lot of times, even the horse's mouth gives wrong information because they don't know all their rules and all the red tape. They just know a certain number as the limit, and a penny over that is just a hard no, and that's not always the case.
Get a second opinion.
Get a second opinion for sure. Yes.
On everything.
Speaking of second opinions,
Yes.
Another good question to ask is, how often are you going to see your doctors? Do you have regular checkups? And then also, who is listed on your HIPAA release? Because if you don't have your name as the adult child on your parents' HIPAA release to talk to their doctors, if you can just get it on there. I don't know how sometimes it takes.
That'll make your life
but
easier.
it will make your life easier. You can talk, once you get on that list, you can talk to them about, if mom or dad misses an appointment, can you please give me a call? Because you and I both know, especially with our seniors, their lives revolve around appointments, doctor's appointments, hair appointments, golfing appointments, you name it. And if they miss one of those, something might be going on that you need to kind of dig a little bit deeper into. So yes, if you can get your name on that HIPAA release form, good for you, and reach out to them and let them know you would like a courtesy call if they missed something, or if something comes up with mom or dad's condition that concerns them, it concerns you.
Okay. Well, we're going to take a short pause and we'll be back right after this break. And welcome back from the break. My guests are Todd Whatley and Sara Scott, and just very interesting conversations about things when you come for the holidays that you probably need to ask as an adult child and also as a senior. Have your plans. If you want to be in charge of what happens to you in the next phase of your life, it's up to you. You have the power to do that. And we have a lot of great resources in Northwest Arkansas and a lot of great resources right here at the table. So please take advantage of that. I know in Todd's office they do free consultations. So come in, you will meet with Sara. Sara is fabulous. And so just take advantage of the resources that are out there, please. So this is one question, and I probably repeated myself that in a different show we were talking about dementia and Alzheimer's and how couples can be very codependent, and it's hard to see, and I think some children don't want to see it either. If there's a few kids, they want somebody else to point it out.
Yes.
They don't want to have to deal with it. So what are some things to look for maybe to kind of spot that codependency if you can?
Well, I think one good way to kind of gauge where mom and dad are mentally and physically would be to have individual visits with each of them away from the other one. That will be very telling. Take them out to a restaurant that you've maybe not taken them to before, and get them just a little bit out of their comfort zone and see if they can focus and hold their attention span in our conversations with new surroundings and loud noises. See how their mobility is, getting in and out of the car, and then see if they are forgetful or asking repeated questions. I mean, those would all be indicators that something a little bit more than just like your normal changes with aging could be going on.
Right.
And yeah, one thing real quick is you will be amazed at how they can cover that up in a phone call.
Yes.
In a 15 to 20, 30-minute phone call, you may think there's nothing wrong with them. They know what they're doing. They know everything. But when you then go to visit, this is why we're doing this month, is when you go and spend some time with them, you'll see, oh, they asked the same question 45 minutes ago. 20 minutes, they're good on a phone call, but a hours long, days long visit, you're like, they're asking the same question. They just asked where Johnny's going to college, and I've told him that, but he asked me that an hour later. And those things really start to pop up and appear when you spend time with them, and that's why this is the perfect time to go in looking for things, okay? You need to be looking for problems. You don't want your parents to have dementia, but if they do, you need to know it.
You do.
Right.
We had a great podcast episode with a friend from Washington, D.C., only child. Parents lived in Florida, and he, had a full-time job, very busy career, and mom had a health episode, so he goes down to Florida and quickly discovers that dad is way worse off than mom. And I mean, he was like our poster child. That's why we did a podcast interview with him, because he took all the right steps. But what we don't want to do is be forced to take those steps and not be prepared to take those and enter into crisis mode. So we try to avoid that if we can. And so by getting information out there about anything from what is normal aging to how to, properly plan for your estate, or what kind of care is an appropriate level, are all really important topics that we cover on the radio show and the podcast.
And the podcast is
Answers on Aging.
Answers on Aging.
Yes.
So this is another thing. We're having those conversations and we're home, and I think sometimes the kids come in and want to fix everything. And so we think mom or dad has some dementia, then my goodness, we need to go to the elder law attorney and get a guardianship because mom and dad can't do anything for themselves anymore. I mean, they go completely off the rails.
Yeah.
And that's bad.
Yeah.
Yeah. Please meet with a elder law attorney who is concerned and will help you work through that, and don't just jump into a guardianship. Just because someone has dementia does not mean they need a guardianship. They can still sign powers of attorney all the way up to the point that they're truly incapacitated. And so I do my best to work with the client. My ethical rules, all attorneys' ethical rules says you are to help your client have capacity, do things that help them have capacity. But having a diagnosis of dementia does not mean that you have to do a guardianship, okay? Please, that's just one of those things that it's a huge soapbox of mine that will get my dandruff up really quick is, oh, he has dementia, he needs a guardianship. Right. That is absolutely not the case, all the way up until they can be fairly well advanced, and if they are doing a document that makes sense, meaning the son or daughter has been doing their finances for years with dad's consent, but now the bank is wanting some legal documents. Well, if dad appoints them, that just makes sense, and dad can have a fair amount of dementia. Now, if dad has a fair amount of dementia and he wants to, name the new caregiver that's been there 3 days as his financial power of attorney, that doesn't make sense. That is not a safe document, and so therefore we may not do that, but if he wants to name his kids who have been doing it, that makes sense.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So let's jump into the hot topic,
Yes.
Oh gosh.
driving.
Yes.
So one thing that I recommend when you go visit your parents is wander out to the garage and look at the car and look at the door frame of the garage.
Right.
Looking at their car will tell you a great, if they have a major wreck, you're going to know that.
Yeah.
But hopefully they're just like bumping into fire hydrants and cart buggy things at the store and not causing major damage, but you'll see nicks and dings on their car, and that's a sign that maybe mom or dad shouldn't be driving anymore.
Right.
Yeah. Checking out the hubcaps too
Yeah.
to see if they've. Don't look at mine, by the way.
I was going to say, Sarah's got boys, and her car, I was like, good Lord, girl, do you need to stop driving? And she didn't see it as funny.
Yeah, and then asking them, are you still comfortable driving? It may just be like a vision issue that they need to go get better glasses or, be seen by an eye doctor, but it could also be something more. And if you feel like you've noticed these dings around the garage and on the car, and you've noticed they've had, decreasing depth perception and some issues with just getting around in the house, but they still say, yeah, I'm fine to drive. Ask them what would it mean to you if you didn't drive anymore? Or how would you feel if you had an accident and really hurt someone or maybe even killed somebody? You can take it to a different level if you feel like it needs to be, but don't start there.
Right.
Don't start there.
But it is a huge thing. It's a
Yes.
huge thing in the States. I mean, coming from England, we have great, well, I don't know whether it's Right. We had great public transportation, and once you got to be 65, you got a free bus pass.
Oh.
So, and it stopped in all the neighborhoods. So,
Yeah.
so as you age, you could really still be out and about in the train system, and we just don't have that yet here. I know that Ozark
Yeah.
Regional Transit has a great program, but it doesn't quite reach us yet.
Every
Right.
neighborhood.
Hopefully
Right.
it will.
Sure.
But you've got Faith in Action that has a program that if you're not driving, they will come and take you to different things. But I think it is a huge deal in this
Yeah.
country to give up those car keys.
Oh, for
big.
sure.
It-
That's just.
it's hard.
It's, I would say, I mean, up there with losing your home or having to downsize,
Yeah.
you know, because it's that loss of independence. And that's what so many are holding on to,
Right.
and that piece of control. And that's the only part of their life that they're able to control. So that's, yeah, it's a really delicate
go back.
situation.
Exactly. Let's go back to that VA benefit. One of the levels is being homebound. I mean, the biggest money, the money that I just told you is for they are stuck at home and they need help at home. But if they just can't get out, if they will stop driving, we can get them a fair amount of money, $1,400 a month. And so I'm not beyond bribing, particularly older men who'll say, you know, look at this car, you've bumped into some things, but if you'll stop driving, I think I can get $1,200, $1,300 from the VA. And they're like, if I stop driving, I'll get $1,200 from the VA. Yeah,
Right.
ching,
Right.
let's do it. And
Yeah.
so families like, thank God.
Yeah.
And I think the important thing is also families don't just go at the holidays. You need to take time and go throughout the year. You know,
Right.
these are
Absolutely.
your parents.
Yes.
Just,
yes.
you need to take some time. Or you need to hire somebody like Sara to go in and advocate for your parents. I mean,
Yeah.
the care navigation business, I think, is starting to boom, and I think will continue to boom because so many kids live out of state.
Right.
But to have an advocate for them
Yes.
is so important.
Well, it is, and it's also, you know, it's so much more than just like a placement, hook you up with this new provider or move you into this new facility and, you know, thanks, I'm out. Best wishes. It's so much more than that because, you know, I can walk with the aging individual, whether that's in their home still or in a new facility, and communicate with the families and the different caregivers about, you know, what do we need to be looking for and what means that we're headed for a decline or what means we need to have a higher level of care. And then, you know, if you are into a nursing home, what are the things we need to be staying on top of so that we can ensure the best quality of care is provided. And, you know, that's what I absolutely love about the care navigation piece is that it's not just, here's this new journey you're going on, I got you there, good luck. You know, I'm going through it with them. And so, because, you know, I've worked with so many seniors and seen this a million times, it's easier for me to help kind of guide them in the right direction, or at least take mistakes that previous residents and clients have had and let's say, you know, this happened, it may not happen with you, but
Right.
let's try not to make the same mistake twice.
Well, we've run out of time. I think we could have talked for a lot longer, and maybe we'll get them to sneak back sometime next year. I'd like to thank Todd and Sara for being here. Remember, Mr. Whatley, they do free consultations in the office. We'll put the number up. Sara's in the office, and we'll put her information up, and you can contact her about care navigation for yourself, for a family member. Make sure Answers on Aging is the podcast. Tune in. You can, while you're walking around the neighborhood, you can listen to it. And Curm Radio every Wednesday at 9 a.m. Tune in. You can call in and ask your questions. And thank you so much for tuning in today. Bye-bye.